Okay. And check 1, 2. Apparently we are live. Greetings. Hello. Welcome to this SpectraLayers Pro 9 live stream. And it's really good to be back. It's been a long time since we've had a SpectraLayers live stream. And a lot has happened since the last one. And so you can see the little countdown timer here. We're going to start in about 15 minutes. And right now I'm just checking in to greet everyone coming in from all over the world. And hope we have a lot of people here today. My name is Mike Scheibinger, and I'm here at Virtu Studio in Cottage Grove, Wisconsin, very near the state capital of Wisconsin, which is Madison. I'm sure you've heard of Madison, Wisconsin. A great city to live. And so yeah, here I am at Virtu Studio, which is my residential studio here in Cottage Grove. And this is the place where we make SpectraLayers Pro 9 videos and do things to help you become better at the program and learn the ropes, as they say. And today we'll have a nice relaxed presentation. We're going to start in about 13 minutes, and we're going to go over some new features. And this is kind of a deep dive into the SpectraLayers Pro 9 environment, as opposed to the tutorial videos, which are sort of really quick ways to get going fast. And so yeah, let's see who's checking in. Nobody yet. Right, and we'll talk a little bit about the last live streams and videos a little bit later on. But for now, just relax, and we're not going to start for a while yet. I just want to make sure that the stream is functioning and get the live stream anxiety under control here, which is always a thing, right? It can be weird, but hopefully everything will go smoothly today and we'll have a nice presentation. You'll learn a lot. And so welcome. So one comment so far, please do one more sale. Well, I think that's imminent. You need to keep checking in with Steinberg, the Steinberg Wave, or the Steinberg website, and keep your eyes on the sales, because they have very frequent sales, and it's really easy to get up and running now with the new Steinberg License Manager. I've used it ever since it's been put into play, and I've had nothing but really good experiences with it. Easy to use. Rick Shaw, audio is loud and clear. Thank you very much for that comment. I really appreciate hearing things like that you can hear, you can see, the resolution is good, and you can hear everything. We have a little ambient music in the background here that I constructed, and turn that up just a little bit. And yeah, when I'm not working on SpectraLayers, like I sort of while away the hours doing this kind of mellow ambient cinematic soundtrack stuff. And I use SpectraLayers a lot when I do this. In particular, I really like using the eraser tool to erase little errors and straighten things out. So SpectraLayers is great for that. Now we're in version 9. Wow. Right. These versions, they really come hot on the heels of one another these days, and so it's really great. There's always a lot of new improvements to look at and explore. And Detlef is here. Hello, SpectraLayers from Dusseldorf. Hello, Dusseldorf. Derek, thanks. Derek likes the videos, and he's a SpectraLayers 9 user. Thank you. Very good. Germany. Hey, Tony. I like your name, Slow Down. I will try to slow down. That means regulate my coffee intake here. And that's kind of really one of the points of these live streams, is to take it nice and easy, take it slow. And I'll try to answer all your questions along the way. And as we get revved up here, you'll see that a lot of times I sort of go off of the script and do dangerous things with with the program and try to push the limit a little bit. And so that's one of the advantages of these live streams, is that we take the program to the edge, and everything has an edge. And so we'll take this program out there to it and see what we can get accomplished with it. Who else is here? Yeah, Tim, Tony, Slow Down, Derek. Good. We are live. Yep. Indeed. And we'll start in a little while. Let's start this track over again. Whoop, there we go. A little ambient music for your Saturday morning wake up. Or wake up for me a little bit. It's still morning here. It's 10:51 a.m. and it's different times all over the world. That's why I like these live streams. I get to interact with people from all over the place, which is so much fun. It's a lot of fun. So very good. Got excellent stream health, as they say in YouTube studio language. It's always encouraging. Yeah. Okay. Again, I am Mike. I'm here at Virtu Studio, my little residence here, and I'm in Cottage Grove, Wisconsin, Midwestern United States. And there's nothing better than spending a Saturday morning in a live stream, sitting down here in the comfort of my studio. Everything's working. And I definitely have some new computer news for you guys between the last time I had a live stream and now I have a new machine, and we're going to talk about that a little bit because it's important. And yeah, it's a whole new world out there with Apple Silicon. And that computer environment out there is getting stronger, and it's very, very interesting. Yeah, we'll start in 7 minutes. Federico, hello from Italy. Hello from Wisconsin. Whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. Hang on. My timer expired early. Strange. So, let's see. Yeah, we'll start in 10 minutes. Actually, more like 7. Who else is here? DJ Brahms, hi from Italy. Thanks for this experience. Yeah, you're welcome. Pleasure to be here. Great to be here. Yeah, SpectraLayers Pro 9. It was the changes, the new features that focus on accessibility and ease of use. They're significant. Dynamic Spectral Processing is a game changer for SpectraLayers. It takes all the guesswork out of the process. It kind of eliminates trial and error approaches to doing stuff. It's the experience in SpectraLayers Pro 9 as compared to SpectraLayers Pro 8 is now a lot more immediate. It's a lot more intuitive in real time, and you can get a lot done really quickly. And the amount of precision that is available now in Pro 9 is significantly greater than ever. And we'll talk about that. Sun Johnson. So SLP9 is about to release. It has been released. The program was released in July. And it's been smooth sailing ever since. And native Apple Silicon support, a very important feature. We'll talk more about that. Workflow beast, it is. It is. It's a big improvement. I really can't. I can't stress enough the amount of improvement. The amount of improvement is so significant, and when you pair that with the native Apple Silicon support, why? That's the you know, you'll see. I'll show you. You know, I have experience running SpectraLayers on lots of different computers, Windows-based computers, Macs, iMacs, laptops, and yeah, and now a Mac Studio with Apple Silicon, and it's I'm speechless, really. It's the power is immense, and yeah. So we'll start in about 4 minutes, and good to see you all here today. And I'm looking for my buddy Secret Squirrel. I hope he shows up. He always adds a lot of fun to the presentation. And shout out to Secret Squirrel. He's not here yet. Maybe he'll show up. Speaking of that, though, if you're here now, that's great. If you have to leave, that's okay. The presentation will be available immediately after it's over. And in addition, after I get a little bit of rest and all of the content has been ingested to the YouTube Uber brain or whatever they call it, then I'll go back in there and create an index for you. And you'll be able to go down the index and click topic by topic, and you'll be able to get back and you know, to where you left off. Or if you need some quick information, you'll be able to jump to any index point. Now, typically these live streams, they can last a while. I've already gone a couple of hours, and I completely understand that your attention span only goes so far, and also you have other things that you might need to do, and so you have to take a break. But you can come back later and check out the index points, find what you're looking for. Okay. All right, we'll start in about 2 minutes. And in the meantime, grab a beverage, a comfortable chair. Make sure you have a correct listening environment. Maybe your earbuds, headphones, nice quiet room. I'm in a nice quiet studio down here, so it's easy to focus. Keep your eyes on the prize and make it happen. And I'm hoping that today I'll be able to clarify some questions that I've seen on the YouTube videos. For instance, Unmix Levels, what is this for? It's a good question. And yeah, we'll explore that. Different things you can do with the process. And so we'll start in, the timer says 4 minutes, but we're actually going to start in about 1 minute. Okay. So, welcome. Excellent. All right. And so, we'll kill the timer and gently fade the music out here and back out of my QuickTime. Good. And up into SpectraLayers we go. Here we are. Okay, my name is Mike Scheibinger, and I'm here at Virtu Studio in the United States in Wisconsin. And today, in this SpectraLayers Pro 9 live stream, we are going to explore a lot of different things, different ideas, and the state of the art in the computing platforms and that I'm using. I'm on M1 now, Apple Silicon. We'll talk a little bit about that because it's important to SpectraLayers. And the last live stream that we did happened on November 27th, 2021. Okay, that was 9 months ago. And in the space of that 9-month period, we have released 8 videos. And you can see these videos on the Steinberg YouTube channel. And the videos are mostly for version 9, but some of them are version 8 too. And so we have 8 videos since last November. And you're always invited to go to the YouTube channel and check out these videos because they're short and they're concise, unlike these live stream presentations, which are relaxed and a little bit long-winded, which is fine. And so, yeah, and I hope that you like Saturdays for the live streams. It's always been my understanding that Saturday is a good time. But it kind of doesn't matter because, you can come back later and catch up. And again, like I said before, these live streams all get indexed so that you can go back and review different things that I've talked about. And again, the best way to learn SpectraLayers Pro is by watching demonstrations just like this one. Live stream videos, tutorial videos. This is the de facto manual for SpectraLayers. And there's a lot of information out there. Let's see who's here. Sun Jason. Hey, China. Wow, Cubase user. Excellent. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. It looks like we have 22 people here. That's really great. Now, today we're gonna work in standalone mode. However, you should know that you can do all these operations in ARA mode too, in Cubase and the Windows. So, like Sun Jason, if you're a Cubase user, you can access the features in the audio editor directly in Cubase or in the Window, and enjoy probably what is the best integration using ARA that is in existence. Actually, I think that SpectraLayers in ARA mode in Cubase and the Window is sort of the state of the art in ARA implementation, the way it works. And so when you look at the way SpectraLayers functions in ARA mode, that's sort of the future of ARA, which is great stuff. Okay, so let's get started. Now here I have a beat file, and we're going to use the Unmix Levels process on it. And I'll say, let's start out by talking a little bit about the Unmix Levels process. Okay, Unmix Levels is a simple process. It's kind of deceptively simple. All it does is divides the sound into 2 sounds based on amplitude. And so you get a loud layer and a not so loud layer, out of it. And you get to set your own particular threshold point at where the volume levels, determine whether or not material is going to land on the loud layer or the soft layer. And so what you get is you get a really advanced level of control over the dynamic range of the content. And a lot of these processes are similar to conventional processes like limiting or compression or things like that. But in the spectral domain, you get a different texture. You get like kind of a different result. And there are big differences that can be really compelling. And so when I look for use cases to show the feature, I'm looking for sounds that have a big difference between the loud and the soft components. But that's not all. And when I'm looking for sounds to use this process on, I'm also looking for sounds in which the loud and the soft components have equal value. So it's not like we're doing this process in order to separate, the loud from the soft, even though, of course you can do that. But what we want to do is we want to harvest both the loud and the soft sounds because they both have a lot of value that we want to exploit. And the goal is to be able to separate the sound into 2 parts and then process those parts and remix them. And so here is a music production use case. Okay, this is a beat. I'll play it again. Okay, this is a drum loop sample that was produced by Bill Laswell, and so you get that classic Bill Laswell sound. It's classic Bill Laswell. It's perfectly put together. I know he uses like a huge Neve console, and so you get that nice warm Neve sound, a lot of saturation, and a lot of outboard processing, and it all comes together in a really great sound. And we're gonna, it's nice to have really high integrity source materials to start with, to work with right off the bat, and so. Here we have that, totally. I'm going to go up to the layer menu up here, and I'm going to select Unmix Levels. Okay, the Unmix Levels dialog comes up, and the threshold value is set at the last place where I left off. So the last thing I did had a threshold value of -28, and so when I bring up the dialog, that's what you see here, -28. I'm going to take the threshold value and move it to 0. And then, now watch, when I hit the preview button, you won't hear anything. Well, that's because we have the high level. We're going to preview the high level coming out of this. And so the high level product now has a threshold of 0 dB, and so naturally, you don't hear anything. Okay, so now I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to move that threshold value down to -12 and hit the preview button. Okay, now at -12, when I hit the spacebar, I can preview it. Now you're just hearing the very loudest part of the sound coming through in the preview, and that's the kick drum. Hear it? You can hear it and see it. Okay, now, when I preview it, you can see the processing happening out in front of the playhead. The playhead chases the process, and so the process happens, and you get to audition it in real time. And not only can you hear the process, you can also see the process, and you can see that the content is being processed out in front of the playhead like this, and it's very, very smooth. I mean, watch, the playhead just kind of cruises, and the processing happens at a very smooth rate. It's not choppy, and this takes some processing power, especially with the graphics, the graphics card in your computer. And I can do this effortlessly here because I'm in Apple Silicon, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Okay, so now -12, I'm previewing in -12, and I can continue hitting the spacebar to preview. And now I'm going to go down to let's try -18. Okay, now the backbeat is coming in a little bit. Okay, and if I go down to, say, -21, hit the preview. Okay. Let's go a little bit more. Try -23. So you can see clearly that the more I bring down the threshold, the more content comes creeping in from the lower amplitudes. 26 dB. Okay. 28. Okay. Let's keep going. 30. Okay. Okay, now at -30, you can hear that there is a tone associated with the kick drum, and you can start to hear that tone come creeping in to the process. And this, in in and of itself, this process allows you to evaluate how the sound is constructed, the dynamics of the sound. As you bring the threshold value down and more sound comes, creeping into the picture, you can really get a handle on the volume relationships in the sound, and make mental notes as you go. You can get a really super clear idea about the dynamics. So just, your powers of observation just become, significantly enhanced as you use dynamic spectral processing to preview your sound. There we go. I'm just going to go 2 dB at a time. More preview. There we go. Okay, now the backbeat's real solid in there. Okay, a little more, 36. Okay, that's cool. Okay, let's stop there. So at minus 37, we'll just go minus, let's try minus 40 and see what that's like. There we go. So now we have the kick and the snare backbeat. We have a really good amount of both of those things in the high level. Oh, so now when I click OK, you can see that the program very, very quickly divides this sound into 2 distinct layers. And now we have the low layer. Isolate, let's solo it. Okay, great. Now, this is the low-level layer, and I'm going to move my screen contrast controls a little bit so that you can see a little bit more clearly the areas that were affected. I'll see where the kick and snare backbeat are. Now we can see that we have some holes in there, okay? There's some like some gapping. If I go back and I undo that and go back up to the Unmix Levels process and see we left off at 40. Now, if I want to, I can save a preset and go back to that. And this is also new in SpectraLayers Pro 9. If I can save minus 40 as a preset, and now I can go back to that really quickly if I need to. Let's dig in even harder, and we'll go for minus 50 and preview that. Okay, now that's a lot. Okay, now I'll do the process. Okay, now in the low level, look at the holes that are in there. Right? Okay, now this is kind of overdoing it a little bit. It really changes the character of the low-level layer. It changes the character completely, and it leaves kind of a throbbing a pulse where those holes are. It now creates kind of like a negative rhythm, all of its own. Right? And, that's a little bit much probably for our taste for the moment. So I'm going to back out again, and I'll go back in there, and we'll go back to our preset, and the preset was minus 40. Preview. Okay, so now I'm going to back out of that just a little bit, and I'll show you why in a second. So we're going to go from 40 to 36. Good, and now we'll try that. Okay, now the low level. The low level doesn't have those. It doesn't have as big of a blank space in the kick drums and the backbeats. And I'm going to increase my resolution here so that you can very clearly see that. And I'll expand a little bit here. And now watch, I'm going to go to the View menu and select Lock Spectrogram to 0. That way we're always anchored down to 0 hertz. And, you can zero in on one of these places, and you can see this is the area that's been moved over to the high-level layer. Watch when I solo the high-level layer, it gets filled in there. And so now here we are with the product, and that product is 2 layers. We have the high-level layer, and we have the low-level layer. Okay, let's take a minute to look at the comments and see what's here. Can we set the threshold type as LUFS? Actually, no, it's straight up dB. Yeah, I'm not. Using LUFS in your metering is probably something that I would use more for a final product. To make sure that the dynamic range of the final product is conforms to what we want. Conforms to what we want it to be, whether it's, your streaming standard of whatever it is, -14, -12, or whatever you prefer. But, in the sound design process, we're mostly not using LUFS. We're just using straight dB and we're sort of using our ears in order to make decisions about dynamic range. And then I should point out that when these are both played together, there's no artifacts. If the high level and the low level layer are both played together and the volumes are both set at 0 dB, why then you get perfect, it sounds exactly the same as the original unprocessed file. Okay. I'm going to back out and start over. And I want to show you about non-modal the non-modal dialogues. Now, if I go back up to the Unmix Levels feature here, and I hit the preview, we can do that. Now, also note that I can make a selection while the Unmix Levels dialog box is open. I can make a selection, and I can play that selection, or I can preview that selection by hitting the spacebar. So if I just want to work on a section, I can do that. Like, say, I will try cutting a selection that has both the kick drums and the backbeat in it, and I can just keep previewing that now. Now, if I hit the spacebar, it previews the process, or if I click the preview button, that also previews the process. And I can hear what the selection sounds like unprocessed simply by playing it from the transport control down here. So, as opposed to, hitting the bypass control, which I could do, I don't really have to. I can go down here and just hit the play button. And then if I want to go back in and do more previewing, then I just hit the preview button. And from that moment on, after I hit the preview button, then the space bar engages the preview process. And so the choice is yours, just so you know. And so here we are, and I'll go back and do the process again. And Command D deselects the selection. And I'll go back to the beginning. So now, we're free to do things with this material. I can put the program into loop mode, and we'll just sort of loop it. And I'm going to bring the high level up and down so that we can sort of like work with this, the sense of distance. If I bring the high level layer down, well, listen to the effect. Kind of thins it out. And if I want to make the sound more apparently forward, I can bring the low-level layer down. All right. Nice. And so this is remixing, and it's a really great way to sort out sounds. And again, it's important to note that in this process, both the high level and the low level sounds, in this case, have high value. Okay, I want to have complete control over both of them. And so, what can we do from here? If we were in ARA mode right now, we could drag these layers right out into the timeline and start working with them in the DAW environment. But we can also process them, directly inside SpectraLayers, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, let's listen to the high-level layer again. Okay, now I want to put some plug-in processing on the high-level layer, and I could click on the high-level layer and make it active, and then go to Process and select VST3 Effects. Okay, this is Slate Virtual Mix Rack, and we won't be using that, but this is where I left off. But now, you can start doing plugin processing on that layer, and but we're going to do it a little bit differently because I want to do it kind of relatively non-destructively, and so I am going to go to the high-level layer and duplicate that. Okay, now when I duplicate it, I can rename it, and I'm going to rename it to high-level FX. Okay, and now I'm going to mute the high-level layer so I don't have to listen to it, and we can operate on the high-level effects layer, which is a copy of the high-level layer. And some advantages here that you'll see, but we can always go back to the unprocessed version if we want to start over. And so now with the high-level effects layer being the active layer, I'm free to go to the VST3 Effects processing department here. And I'm going to show you something interesting that I discovered last night. Watch this. I'm going to go to Sonable, and I'm going to call up the Smart Reverb. Okay, now, this is an AI-based reverb program that you play a sound into, and the deep learning algorithm sort of learns the sound, and then it crafts a special reverb that goes with it, that's appropriate for it. And so, let's say, for example, I make a selection, and I'm hoping this is a kick drum. Nope, it's not. I just want kick drums. Okay, now I just have kick drums. And as you can see, I was able to make this selection while the process dialog box is open, while the plugin dialog box is open. And that's non-modal process dialogs, which works with the VST processes as well as any other process in SpectraLayers. Very great feature. And, this is one of the features that makes working in SpectraLayers Pro 9 so refreshing now. The workflow enhancements are really significant. Okay, excuse me for just one moment. Okay, now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a reverb that is designed particularly for this sound. And so watch. When I click this button here, okay, now the smart reverb goes into learn mode. And when I play the sound into it, okay, you can see that it's calculating, it's making a set of calculations based on the incoming signal. And what I think is funny is that, if I stop during the learning process, it kind of remembers where I left off. And so the advantage here is that I can isolate a sound like this kick sound and just keep playing it over and over again until the smart reverb has it learned, and then it'll be ready to use after the learning process is over. Watch. Okay. Now it's waiting, still waiting. Okay, now it's learned. Okay, now when I deselect the selection, now watch, and preview the file, you can see the reverb effect and hear it being processed before the playhead crosses the threshold, and so you can hear the effect of the process. Watch. Preview. Okay, great. Again, watch the reverb being processed out in front of the playhead. And that's dynamic spectral processing in action. Now, really, I don't have any problem at all with the default reverb that Smart Reverb came up with. It sounds great. It's like pretty cool. This is a good reverb. But now we want to integrate this reverb sound into the project. And down here, you can see that I have the dry signal set at one. Well, the default comes up as the dry signal as 100% and the wet signal as 75. I'm going to dial the dry signal all the way down to 0 and bring the wet signal up to 100. So now we're working with a 100% wet signal. Okay, that's reverb only. And I'm going to process this, or apply the process. Okay, and we're done. So now here we have the high-level effects being 100% wet. And we can mix that with the original high-level signal. And this is how we get our wet-dry mix. Okay, now that sounds, here's the high-level solo. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. The high-level, unprocessed, sounds dry. It sounds, it sounds like what it is. And there is, a small amount of artifacting that is a result of the spectral processing. And, that's always going to be there. You're going to get a little bit of artifacting. But now a couple of things to keep in mind is that when the original high-level and low-level layer are played together, there is no artifacting. It sounds exactly the same as the original file. And when I play the reverb level in isolation, practically speaking, there are no artifacts there either. I mean, the sound that was, inputted into the reverb plug-in to process had some artifacts on it. But since we're bringing it back 100% wet, they just get, they get absorbed into the reverb sound, and so you get, a pretty pure signal. So now let's play all three together. And okay, and I'll play it again and mute the new reverb. Nope, this is all three together. And now I'll mute the effects. It's a little dry. Okay, the high level layer and the effects together. Mute solo, mute solo, mute solo. High level and effects together. And this time I'm going to dial the low level layer in at kind of a lower volume so that you can hear the kind of the richness of that reverb come out. Okay. And I'll dial the high level down to put emphasis on the reverb sound. And so you can see that we can do a lot by sorting the sound out, by separating the sound out into high and low level layers based on amplitude, and then processing the individual layers any way we want to. And again, like I showed you, the layer that we're affecting, duplicating that and then applying effects to that in a 100% wet kind of scenario, it really helps keep your project nice and clean sounding, minimal to no artifacts, and there's no compromise. It's you can get pretty significant control over this stuff. Okay, let's go to the comments and see what's going on here. Yes, right. The comment is less destructive settings. Yes, we are always looking for the least invasive ways possible to get work done. Now, you can see that this processing, everything happens, so smoothly. Dynamic spectral processing takes a lot of processing power, and let's take a look at my machine specs. So here, I'm on Monterey, and I'm using an M1 Max. I have 64 gig of RAM. And over here in the storage department, okay, yeah, we have 64 gigs of RAM, and I'm working with a 2 terabyte storage online, and some displays here. And so, like I said before we started, I've worked with SpectraLayers on a wide variety of machines. From the majority of the machines I've worked on have been, to date, they've been i7 machines. I did all of the videos for SpectraLayers Pro 9 with an i7 iMac with 32 gigs of RAM in it, and I was able to accomplish the work, and it went well. But it's nothing compared to the way SpectraLayers 9 runs on the Apple Silicon, on the M1. I will tell you, honestly, it doesn't hold a candle to it. This the M1 has so much power to work with SpectraLayers in these power-hungry, kinds of operations. Dynamic spectral processing, when, it's doing spectral processing out in front of the playhead, and plus it's providing you with visual feedback at the same time, that takes a lot of power. And I will say that the release of SpectraLayers Pro 9 did actually trigger my purchase of an M1 system. I knew that I was going to have to do it eventually, and everybody can see the writing on the wall. But SpectraLayers Pro 9 was the application that sort of tilted me toward, doing the spend or whatever for the M1 system. And I'm just, I've got to laugh because when I did, and I brought SpectraLayers up and I started working with it, I was like, well, here we go. It is very significant and extremely pleasing to do. It's very pleasing. And yep, we have some effortless graphics processing here. So while I was putting together this presentation, it occurred to me that people have been asking questions about what can the Unmix Levels process be used for, and the answer to that is watch all of the SpectraLayers videos, and I'll tell you why later. Even if the video doesn't have Unmix Levels in the title, it may still feature the Unmix Levels process used in some capacity, either for post-production, sound design, repair and restore, or post-production. And while I was putting this thing together just yesterday, it occurred to me that this Unmix Levels process might be an interesting way to address plosives. And so I'm going to bring up this next audio file here. And it's called plosives. And so now here I've constructed, I'll just play it and then I'll explain it.
Plosive speech sounds. The basic plosives in English are T, K, and P, D, G, and B.
Okay. Now this is a demonstration file that I created a long time ago. It might have been actually for version 7. And this is an Audio-Technica 4033 mic that I recorded down here in my studio. And what I wanted to do is get an audio file that has all of the plosives in it. And so this has all of the plosives in it. I'll play it again.
Plosive speech sounds. The basic plosives in English are T, K, and P, D, G, and B.
Okay. Yeah, and so one of the advantages of saving all of these old tutorial use cases, like I have a folder with, 10 gigs of this stuff in it, is that I can pull them up and try new processes on old files. Like I already know how the file is going to react to certain processes, but it's always a surprise to learn about how the same sound reacts to new processes. And so it reinforces the fact that all of these processes here, they work together as a system. And, once you learn them all, then where to apply them down the line. But, I just got this idea. What would it be like to try dealing with plosives using the Unmix Levels process? Let's try that. So now here, if I go back up to 0 again, and I audition the high-level layer, you're not going to hear anything. It's just blank. But again, you can see Dynamic Spectral Processing running out in front of the playhead and doing a very smooth work. So now I'm just going to go down 2 dB at a time. And 2 dB down, still nothing. Let's try 4 dB. Nope. 6. And 8. Okay, now, at minus 8 dB, you can hear the most intense plosives coming in. And at minus 10, you can hear more. And the goal here is I'm checking, I want to see how far I have to go with the threshold value in order to capture all of the different categories of plosives that are here, which is the whole list of plosives are represented here in this sample. Yep. Minus 14. There we go. Mm-hmm. Try minus 16. And minus 18. Okay. At minus 18, we're capturing quite a lot. Let's run it and see and hear the result. So now the high level layer contains the plosives. And the low level layer has the plosives gone.
Plosive speech sounds. The basic plosives in English are T, K, and P, D, G, and B.
I can hardly stand listening to myself, but there it is. Look at that. I mean, this works nice, right? And let's see, what was the threshold setting we used there again? Minus 18. So at minus 18, we get the job done. Let's take a look at, let's play both layers together. Okay, now you can see in the, the yellow, the high level, these are the plosives that have been removed. Okay, now listen to it again and listen to the plosive that I'm sort of iterating, talking, and let's see if we captured every single one.
Plosive speech sounds. The basic plosives in English are T,
1,
K,
2,
and P,
3,
D,
4,
G,
5,
and B.
6.
Plosives.
So we have all 6 types. We've captured them all. And I think that the result is sounds nice and clean. And the result again is the low level layer.
Plosive speech sounds.
Okay, again with before processing.
Plosive speech sound. Plosive speech.
And after.
Plosive speech sounds.
Good.
The basic plosives in English are T.
Okay, that's a really nice result. And let's look for anything in the high level layer that is not a plosive. Okay, hold on.
Plosive speech sounds. The basic plosives in English are T, K, and...
Okay, now here in the word and, see? In the word and, that's not really a plosive.
And...
But the program or the process captured that sound because the in and is of the same amplitude as the plosive.
And
now, this is sort of like, we don't want to see this happen. We want to, we may want to capture that and sound.
And
so what can we do about that? I'm going to go to the high level layer, and now watch this. I'm going to grab the rectangular selection tool, and I'm just going to lasso this. And Okay, now watch. With the high-level layer active, I'm going to go up to Edit, Cut Special, and I'm going to cut to layer below. Now watch. That plosive or the plosive, the sound. It's not a plosive, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut to layer below. Okay, now look. That gets redeposited into the low-level layer. So now that exists in the low-level layer. And with absolutely zero artifacts. And so what I just did, transferring content from layer to layer after an unmixed process, believe me, this is the feature that takes all unmixed processes over the top in SpectraLayers, and it makes it better than any other program. And I'll kind of tell you why, based on my opinion. Okay, now there are some algorithms out there, AI-assisted algorithms or not. It doesn't matter. The algorithms do unmixing, and the algorithms I think out there in the world, in the industry, they're good. They're getting better all the time, but they're kind of like more similar than they are different. You can't really point to one company's algorithm for unmixing and say, this is significantly better than, program A is significantly better than program B. I don't really think it works like that. I think that, the algorithms out there, are pretty good across the board. They work, they're good, and, they're stable. But SpectraLayers gives you that ability to move stuff from layer to layer after you do like either an AI-assisted process or a non-AI-assisted process. This is not AI because it's not, it's not super complicated. But the cool thing is to be able to move stuff from layer to layer with sample accuracy, and the result then is way more precision and way fewer artifacts. The downside is the amount of time that you would spend, doing something like locating material that you want to move from layer to layer and then actually, getting the job done, moving it. Of course, that's time consuming, but high precision processes like this, take time. The whole time I've been talking, I've been staring at this little spot right here. Is that a plosive? Not really. It's
Plosives in English are.
It's the word R. And so this is not a plosive. And if I want to move that back into the low-level layer, all I have to do is lasso it like this. And edit, cut special, cut to layer below. And now I've dropped that back into the low-level layer. And again, the point here is that we're moving stuff from layer to layer, and no content ever gets deleted. No content ever gets lost. And if you're looking for spectral processes that have the least amount of comb filtering and artifacting, if you want to achieve, the absolute lowest level of artifacting, then moving stuff from layer to layer accomplishes that, because no data is lost. And that's the important part. And how fast is FFT adjustment with the M1? Well, lightning fast. It just, FFT adjustment has never really been, the speed of it has never really been a problem under any OS that I've ever used. But I will say that really intensive dynamic spectral processing on processes, it's very demanding. It's very demanding. And so if you were looking at getting an M1 and you like SpectraLayers and you plan on using 9, then like it happened with me personally. The decision to go over to Apple Silicon was hastened. It was speeded up. And like I always knew it was going to happen. It's inevitable. It's like, well, when am I going to get that next computer? And then I started using SpectraLayers 9, and it was like, well, I guess I'm going to do it soon. And I did. So I'm glad. And by the way, everything you see here today is in pure, native Apple Silicon. I'm not running Rosetta on anything. Yeah, I'm not. Let's take a look at cursor coordinates. This was a new feature. So we have the cursor crosshair, which is great. And then we have the cursor coordinates you can add to that. And you can, cursor coordinates, show you the time as well as the frequency of your material. And now there's a video for this. But one thing that video doesn't show that I accidentally left out was that in the preferences menu, in the interface portion, you can actually select the cursor coordinate color that you want to use. So if I want a straight up white cursor, then I can have that. Whoops, it didn't change. Back to preferences, interface, cursor coordinates, color. I guess I forgot to hit OK. Okay, so I hit OK, and I hit OK here, and now it hasn't changed. What? One more time. Preferences, interface, and let's go for red. And okay, now it's red. Click OK, and there we are. And right, so depending on the look that you like, now you can have your coordinates be any color you want. And as long as I'm talking about cursor coordinates, now I want you to know that there is a cursor coordinates video that shows this feature in detail on the Steinberg YouTube website. But the important thing is, or the thing I'd like to tell you, is that inside of that video, Unmix Levels, the Unmix Levels process is demonstrated in the context of repair and restore. And like I said before, a lot of people are asking questions about, what can I use Unmix Levels for? And if you go to the Steinberg YouTube channel and watch all of the Spectral 9 videos, and they're all pretty short, and they get to the point very quickly, you'll see at least 4 different use cases for Unmix Levels. And so it's a little bit deceptive because in the title of the video, the Unmix Levels may not be mentioned. But like, say you want to learn about, the cursor, you go to that video, and then inside there's kind of a little Easter egg in there for you. And in the case of cursor coordinates, the Unmix Levels feature is demonstrated in the context of repair and restore operations. Yeah. And there we go. And again, regarding the look, I have the luminosity turned all the way down so that that's just the kind of look I like. I like that dark look. Operator error? Who, me? Are you kidding? No, never. So we've been at it for about an hour, and that's about all I have for this live stream. But since everything went so swimmingly well, let's open up another beat sample and see what we can do with it. And so I've got a couple different things here on tap that sounded good. Here's kind of a drum and bass thing. I'm going to change the color on this to this one. There we go. That's really nice. I'm going to loop that. Here we go. Yeah, sweet. Did you guys know that drum and bass is making a big comeback? Yeah, it is. You know, back in, I don't know, 97, 98, the early aughts or whatever, I was so into drum and bass, and I'm glad that it's coming back. But this is a good one. So if I put unmixed levels on this, and again, I'll start at 0 dB, and that way, you know, you're not going to hear anything, and then kind of slowly start dragging it down. I'm going to go by 4 dB increments this time. There we got some kicks. And 8. 11. Yep, getting more. 13. 16. Try 18. Let's go for 24. So now here you can hear the rhythms. Okay, when the rhythms start coming in, that right there, that's getting kind of interesting to me. You're gonna kind of you know, the rhythms are coming in there. So let's give it 2 more dB. There we go. Oh, now we hear kind of chirpy sounds. 28. Okay. Okay, let's stop here. And so now, and I'm going to move my resolution here so that we can see the details. Okay, let's listen to the low level layer. Whoa, this is overwhelmingly cool. I'm listen to this. Can you hear any artifacts? Maybe a tiny bit. I can't. It's just sounds such a clean. This is such a clean separation. It's so good. And high level. Both together. Okay, great. That's really good. Okay, so again, if I solo the high level layer, you can see like these kind of chirpy sounds up in the high frequencies. They're up in like the 7K range. I can grab those with the rectangular selection tool like I did on the other file. And I'm going to time and frequency fade to just really tight margins here. And here I'm grabbing one of these things, and you can see the fade on either side of the selection. And I'm going to deselect that, and I'm going to make that fade even tighter yet. There we go. Oh, that's about the same. All right, this is the tightest possible fade on there. Yeah, it's really tight. And so I'm going to grab this, and then I'm going to go into add to selection mode, and I'm just going to pick up these chirps. And again, I'm going to drive them down into the low level layer. Now watch. Now I have both layers solid. Now watch these. Now these sounds in the high level layer, these are just going to disappear and from the high level layer and go back into the low level layer. Edit, cut special, cut to layer below. And there, they're gone. See, now they're back in the low level layer. And again, this is the best way to do unmixing, because you can move stuff back and forth from layer to layer with sample accuracy. The key here is that nothing is deleted, because when you delete something, it's a problem because it creates artifacts. But if you can manage a situation in which you never delete anything, then you're leaning toward more artifact-free performance. Like these 3 little hits here, I can just easily just grab those like this and edit, cut special, cut to layer below, and now they're deposited back into the low-level layer. So now our high-level layer will be majority low frequency information. Nice. And so there's still a couple more chunks of stuff in here, that I can just grab and cut to layer below. The more you work at it, the better it gets. And so now we have a high-level layer and a low-level layer separated that we can process. Now imagine like you're doing a drum and bass track, right? I mean, you're working off of a loop like this, and you want to do a build, like a build up, or you want to create, stratified layers and to evolve your composition. We just did it, because now we can start with a low-level layer like this, right? And then, boom, and bring in the low end. And so these, the point is that you can use SpectraLayers to do unmixing like this and create new assets to work with all over the place. Okay, this kind of like tin can banging sound or whatever. Say we wanted to harvest that into its own layer. I can create a new layer, and now right now, you guys, I'm totally riffing. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but this is ad lib improvisation. And improvisation in SpectraLayers it's great. You just cut yourself loose. So I'm going to try to grab these tin can sounding sounds, and now see, I've taken layer 2, the new layer, and I've driven that up underneath the high-level layer so that I can go to the high-level layer and say drop to layer below, and now layer 2, I can cut to layer below, and now layer 2 has just the snare or the click material on it. So, but what does the high level layer sound like as a result? Check it out. Okay. There we go. Great. So now let's just try adding a VST3 process. Thinking of processing ordinarily, or not ordinarily, but that high level layer, it would be really nice to hit that super hard with Soundtoys Decapitator. That would be fun. And it reminds me that Soundtoys is working on making their suite of plugins VST3 ready. And so I just got an email from them the other day, because I'm a Soundtoys suite user. I have all their stuff. And the email said that the VST3 versions of Soundtoys plugins are on the way. They're coming soon. And those will be really nice to use inside SpectraLayers. A lot of times I'm inside SpectraLayers and I'm like, ooh, I want to put, Echo Boy on there. But then I realize that it's not available because it's not VST3. But Soundtoys is addressing that, and soon we will have VST3 compatible Soundtoys. And denoise with noise profile. Unmixed components, yep. Rene said, how can we reduce the noise inside the split parts? The answer to that question is it runs in parallel with everything that I've been showing you here today. The answer to that is move stuff from layer to layer. Use the tools over here on the left. Excuse me for a moment. Use the tools over here on the left to, find the best tool for the job, and then go in there and select that stuff and move it around from layer to layer. The more you move stuff from layer to layer, the more clarity and the better your product is going to sound. So I wanted to put some reverb on this sound, and so let's hit the learn button in the Smart Reverb. Okay, now it's learning what that sound is like. Okay, now I have a reverb here. Oof! Look, I made it. I didn't make a duplicate of this layer. I just went straight for the processing, and so what that means is that we don't want a 100% wet mix. We want a different mix that has some of the original in there. Okay, great. So move that up to about. Great. And so now we have the little bit of reverb applied to that snare sound, or that backbeat sound. Whoops. And we'll just apply that process quickly. Yep. Now, before this was dry. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. That's really good. And so that's about all I have for today. And but let's just try one more thing here. I'm just going to totally destroy the high-level sound. And let's solo it. Okay, I'm just going to mess with this sound terribly and do something experimental and highly questionable. Well, that's how we'll end our thing today, with a totally improvised thing. So let's go to Plugin Alliance and try to find some kind of distortion. Spread. This is the Plugin Alliance Mega Bundle, and there's a lot of. Wait. I have a different idea. Let's go over to Slate, and now hold on. We'll try some guitar stomp box processing, and so high gain metal. Rig player. And let's see, Black Star PV. Let's go for this PV 6505. I want something with more distortion. Whoa, there we go. Okay. Let's see if I've never tried this before, but let's see if I can duplicate this while I have the plugin window open. Yes, I can. Not only can I duplicate it, it also becomes the active track. I'll call this distortion. Okay. So now we have some brutal distortion. Okay, let's apply that. Great. And notice that when I copied the layer while I had the plugin dialog open, That's the non-modal dialogue feature in action, which is great. And again, one of the keys here to SpectraLayers Pro 9 is ease of use with the dynamic spectral processing and all of the features that support it, especially the non-modal thing, but presets too. It's all part of a package of workflow improvements. It really makes working in SpectraLayers a lot more satisfying and fun. I mean, for me, it's always been about creativity and fun, and I've always had a lot of fun. But when you combine SpectraLayers Pro 9 with the Apple Silicon experience, this is really something. Okay, so now we have here's the original high-level layer, and here's the distortion layer that I derived from it. Okay, we can create a mix of those two. That's cool. And then I've got the reverb process snare layer. Nice. And the low-level layer. Okay, great. Let's hear them all together. Mm-hmm. How about a little more distortion? Or how about all distortion? I will turn the high-level layer all the way down, and now we're just dealing with distortion only. The distortion product that we made. Sounds kind of crunky. It's good stuff. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. The main features here or the main focus of this presentation was Unmix Levels, augmented by Dynamic Spectral Processing and non-modal dialogues, all running under the magical properties of Apple Silicon, which is truly impressive. And the native implementation of SpectraLayers under Apple Silicon is what you would expect it to be. It's really, I haven't found a flaw with it yet. Really, it's been flawless. And so it's I don't know. It's you take all these things together. The ease of use and the new powers and Apple Silicon. This is a win for creativity, and it makes the experience of SpectraLayers 9 that just, ideal, really. I mean, still, I've only had this, I've only had my Mac Studio system for about 2 weeks. And the first week, I spent a whole week just staging it, for my studio. But then, I fired up SpectraLayers and I started doing stuff in it, and I was like, "Oof, this is." It's just I'm smiling right now. It just makes me smile because it's groovy. And so yeah, and so this is a wrap, and let's go over to the comments here. Okay. Good. And that's a wrap. And once again, my name is Mike Scheibinger, and I'm here in the United States, in Wisconsin at Virtue Studio. And this is the first live stream presentation in about 8 months, but in the interim, we've had at least 8 videos uploaded to the Steinberg YouTube channel. Most of them related to new Pro 9 features. And again, I would like to remind you that these videos here, they're short to the point, but they're loaded. And the videos, all of them, I think, or the vast majority of them, they have more stuff going on inside of them than the title of the video suggests. Like I mentioned, the cursor crosshair video has a whole separate Unmix Levels tutorial in there that's targeted toward repair and restore operations. And that's the other thing I wanted to say here is that we did a little bit of repair and restore today here with the Plosives, but I mostly focused on music and sound design because I don't know, that's what I that's my wheelhouse, right? But the Unmix Levels process and all the processes work across the board for music, post, creative sound design, and repair and restore. Their SpectraLayers has equal power in all of those domains, and so and the other thing that I always like to point out again is that SpectraLayers is a system. Like I used Unmix Levels on a Plosives use case, and I've used other processes on that same use case. And each time you add a process, it adds to the power of the system. And with different processes, especially in the unmixed department, you get kind of different results. You just keep working on it, and with the advent of SpectraLayers 9 and the Dynamic Spectral Processing and all the other workflow features, you can work through a lot of options really, really quickly, like we did here today. Working through lots of different plug-in processing scenarios really quickly with Dynamic Spectral Processing and the M1 architecture underneath all this just isn't even close to breaking a sweat. Believe me, it's like, oh, and the other thing is that I'm not an Apple company salesman or whatever, but I have experience using the i7 iMac and the Mac Studio now, and the Mac Studio runs almost twice as cool as the iMac i7, and it's more than twice as quiet. And so typically my old iMac i7 would run at about 150 degrees to 160, and this right now we're running at 84 degrees, and we're doing more stuff faster, and the computer is running cooler, and it's running a lot quieter too, a lot quieter. And so the happiness that ensues is it's a high level of happiness and satisfaction when you take a program as sophisticated as SpectraLayers Pro 9 and launch it into the M1 environment. It just makes you happy that people at Steinberg, the people at Apple, our friends who write plugins for a living. Like I said, Sound Toys is releasing their VST3 iterations, really soon. It's really great to see everything pushing forward so hard like this. And Steinberg, with its ARA mode implementation with SpectraLayers and Cubase and Nuendo, is maintaining the cutting edge of that. I mean, it's the cutting edge of ARA and spectral editing. And so put it all together, and it makes me one happy little audio guy down here. And so that's it. It's all good. And that's about all I have to say. And so I'm going to sign off. And once again, I'm Mike Scheibinger from Wisconsin, and very pleased to be your SpectraLayers product demonstrator today. Have a great Saturday, and be careful. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. And check out the videos over on the Steinberg website. And there will be at least 3 more new videos happening in the next 3 months or the next weeks ahead. And also keep an eye on the Steinberg website for sales, because they always have something happening over there. And so with that, I bid you adieu, and excuse me, have a great day. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you down the road a little bit, okay? Bye-bye. Take care.